He may have secured his first ever tournament win, but what's still to be decided is if Yize can win his first ever shot at the championship. And it's time to find out, because as usual I'm going to be attempting to recreate all the outstanding shots as accurately as possible and find out which of them is best by playing them in the fewest possible attempts. And we begin with what is certainly one of the most significant frames of the tournament, as Yize finds himself 4 frames to 2 behind against Judd Trump, and not only does he knock in this long red, he gets in perfect position on the black, allowing him to take the frame with an 88 break, and he'd eventually win the match by 6 frames to 4, despite being 4 frames to 0 behind at one stage. My first attempt showed just how wrong this shot could go, but my second is definitely a big improvement. Moving on from an aggressive pot to a clever tactical decision, as John Higgins has run out of position a long way in front in this frame, and instead of risking opening up all the reds and leaving a potential pot for Shaun Murphy, he decides to just glance off them and play the snooker in behind the blue. Not that I think that's going to be as easy as it sounds, but we're about to find out now. And I was right. I realised on my first attempt I basically just pushed the red over the corner pocket, and had I been playing Shaun I'd almost certainly have lost the frame from that. I realised I need to glance off the reds a little bit thinner, and that's allowing me to get closer to the blue and split the reds less. This is looking pretty good. I've hit it a tiny bit hard, but I'm still tight in behind the blue. Yize has found a pot in the frame he needs to defeat the world champion and make it through to the final, but unfortunately he's run out of position at the same time, so has to pot this difficult yellow. He gets it, but is unable to go anywhere with this break, and Zhao Xintong comes back at him, but Wu would still take the match 2 frames later. Normally a shot like this wouldn't be too difficult, but it's very straight, so I have to inject quite a bit of power into the cue ball, and that's causing me problems, and it's taken 3 attempts to get right. In the end, that's about as hard as I could possibly hit it. Judd Trump's 2 frames to 1 behind and struggling for position when he finds himself on this straight red, and despite being some distance from it, he not only manages to pot it but screw the cue ball all the way back for the blue. He cues this one really well, so let's see how difficult it really is. I think it's because you play this shot diagonally across the table that it's a bit of an optical illusion, as I wasn't expecting the cue ball to be this far away from the red, but it's about 7 foot away, and I've got to screw the cue ball back about 4 foot, and I think I can just about do that, or it looks like I can, but it's making the pot a lot harder than I was expecting. I've got it, but haven't quite got into the cue ball and screw backed on the wrong line. This is a little bit better, but I think I'm just coming up short in the wrong side of the blue. At least I seem to be cueing better now, and I've got it a 3rd time, and this one looks like I've just injected enough speed into it to get topside. That's about as good as I could do there. Zak Surety just needs 1 more frame to defeat Neil Robertson, and he's ahead here, but he's in a difficult position on the bolt cushion when he's forced into playing this long pot, gets it, and is able to make a 78 break from this, taking the match. Because the cue ball's so close to the cushion with this shot, I've got to essentially hit it as hard as I can, which I've managed to do there, and I'm delighted it's gone in after 2 attempts because accuracy at that speed is difficult, but unfortunately that's as hard as I can hit it. After winning in Northern Ireland, Jack Lisowski is still playing confidently, and as you can see, he's still going full attack here in an attempt to finally defeat Ronnie O'Sullivan. He'd eventually manage it by 6 frames to 5. This one looks fairly comfortable standing behind it, because in theory if I just play this with a lot of backspin and pot the red, I should be okay. Although a lot of these shots are a bit disappointing, so hopefully I can get closer. I've got the pot but somehow cannon the red, so I just need a bit more backspin and I should be okay with this one. Yep, I've got it again, but unfortunately I've cannoned the reds again. And again, I've got it and still cannon the reds. I'm not sure how I'm hitting them. I just need to get into the cue ball a bit better. And maybe it's a bit tougher than I was expecting and I have to stun it a bit more. I finally got it and actually stunned it too much, but it's taken so long, I'm just going to stick with that. World champion Zhao Xintong has been struggling a little bit since he took the title and is behind in this match, but finds this excellent long pot to get him in the second frame, which he would take with an 88 break and eventually win the match, making it all the way through to the semi-final in the end. I've put this one here because it's very similar to the previous shot from Jack Lisowski, although a little bit closer to the cushion, and that's probably helped me get it in just 3 attempts. After securing the first frame, Jack also attempts a crazy double in this match. The ping's most of the way down the side cushion here, but he still manages to power it into the green pocket. So is this one really as difficult as it looks? My plan was just to get the cue ball back at the right angle and hope for the best, but that hasn't really worked on my first attempt. My second's gone right in the middle of the pocket though, and I really wasn't expecting that to go in so soon. And up against that, Shaun Murphy, who'd also secured the frame, and plays this double for a 117 break. He'd eventually go on to defeat Ding here by 6 frames to 2 in this match. Although this shouldn't be too difficult, my first attempt's embarrassingly bad as I didn't hit the black in anywhere near the right direction, and I did exactly the same thing with my second. The third's looking a lot better though, so which of these was the cheekiest double? There's nothing on either of these, and Shaun's looks fairly simple, so he only gets 2, whereas Jack's looks a lot more impressive, so he gets 4, and he's clearly this week's winner. Another ridiculous shot from Yize now in the semi-final as he pots this red and screws off the pink down the table. From this position he'd clear up with a 108 break and allowed him to start moving away in the semi-final. He'd eventually make it through to the final by 9 frames to 6. Even though I got close with my first attempt, I think this one's going to be difficult to get used to, as you never usually play a screw shot like this on such a thin contact, so I'm struggling to work out the right angle and see where I need to hit it. That said, I'm not getting too far away on most of these, and hopefully I can just find the pocket because putting all the balls back into the right place is taking quite a long time, and I'd like to get one fairly soon, although that's getting further and further away. Finally gone in, and I've screwed back roughly to the right place, actually a little bit too far. Before the next Judd Trump shot, let's just find Shaun from Bangor in North Wales, which is there. Judd Trump needs snookers in the first frame of his 3rd round match and gets a good one here, but unfortunately for him he's fluked a red at the same time, meaning he has to take on this tough long black to stay in the frame. He gets it and gets a chance to play for snookers but never ends up getting one. He still wins the match by 6 frames to 3 in the end though. It's not really the pot on the black I'm worried about here, it's the speed I need to hit it at, as I potted the black there but gone the wrong side of the brown and actually left myself snookered, so I'm going to have to try again. I need to get the cue ball close enough to the middle pocket that actually goes inside the brown. I don't think Judd was thinking about this too much, just potting the black, but that's where he ended up, so that's where I've got to go. And this is looking more or less spot on. Another great pot from Yize, this time in the final against John Higgins. Made all the more significant because this gave him the chance he needed to take the match and his first ever tournament win. So let's see if I can get anywhere near this one. This is one of those shots that I'm going to have to cue really sweetly, but I know my cloth's good enough to give me the reaction I need out of the cue ball as long as I can get the pot. It's gone in and I'm roughly in the right place. Could have done with a fraction more backspin, but that's more or less perfect. Last week from the Northern Ireland Open, you chose shot P from Shaun Murphy as the best shot of the tournament, where he pots one red off another here, and it turned out to be a lot harder than I first thought. So congratulations to Shaun. And this week you can vote for the best shot from this tournament in exactly the same way, for free, using the link in the description. And if you haven't seen our previous couple of videos, then have a look at these two. And remember, don't just watch play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.